Everything is fucked. Summary. Mark Manson. Part 1, Hope, Chapter 1, The Uncomfortable Truth. How may I help you? If I worked at Starbucks, instead of writing people's names on their coffee cup, I'd write the following: one day, you and everyone you love will die. And beyond a small group of people for an extremely brief period, little of what you say or will ever matter. This is the uncomfortable truth of life. And everything you think or do is but an elaborate avoidance of it. We are inconsequential cosmic dust, bumping and milling about on a tiny blue speck. We imagine our importance. We invent our purpose. We are nothing. Enjoy your fucking coffee. Our psyche needs hope to survive the way a fish needs water. Hope is the fuel for our mental engine. Here's what a lot of people don't get: the opposite of happiness is not anger or sadness. If you're angry or sad, that means you still give a fuck about something. That means something still matters. That means you still have hope. No, the opposite of happiness is hopelessness. To build and maintain hope, we need three things: a sense of control, a belief in the value of something, and a community. Chapter 2, Self-control is an illusion. The fact is that we require more than willpower to achieve self-control. It turns out that our emotions are instrumental in our decision-making and our actions. We just don't always realize it. Here's the truth: the feeling brain is driving our consciousness car. The feeling brain drives our consciousness car because, ultimately, we are moved to action only by emotion. That's because the action is emotion. Emotion is the biological, the hydraulic system that pushes our bodies into movement. Fear is not this magical thing your brain invents. No, it happens in our bodies. Emotion inspires action, and action inspires emotion. The two are inseparable. Every problem of self-control is not a problem of information or discipline or reason, but, rather, of emotion. Self-control is an emotional problem, laziness is an emotional problem, procrastination is an emotional problem, underachievement is an emotional problem, impulsiveness is an emotional problem. The problem isn't that we don't know how not to get punched in the face. The problem is that, at some point, likely a long time ago, we got punched in the face, and instead of punching back, we decided we deserved it. Chapter 3, Newton's Laws of Emotion. For every action, there is an equal and opposite emotional reaction. Self-worth is contextual. If you were bullied for your geeky glasses and a funny nose as a child, your feeling brain will know that you're a dweeb, even if you grow up to be a flaming sexbot of hotness. High and low self-worth appear different on the surface, but they are two sides of the same counterfeit coin. Because whether you feel as though you're better than the rest of the world or worse than the rest of the world, the same thing is true. You're imagining yourself as something special, something separate from the world. A person who believes he deserves special treatment because of how great he is isn't so different from someone who believes she deserves special treatment because of how shitty she is. We all overestimate our skills and intentions and underestimate the skills and intentions of others. We all overestimate our skills and intentions and underestimate the skills and intentions of others. Let's be real, people suck, and life is exceedingly difficult and unpredictable. Most of us are winging it as we go, if not completely lost. And if we didn't have some false belief in our superiority, or inferiority, a deluded belief that we're extraordinary at something, we'd line up to swan dive off the nearest bridge. Without a little bit of that narcissistic delusion, without that perpetual lie we tell ourselves about our specialness, we'd likely give up hope. Your identity will stay your identity until a new experience acts against it. Chapter 4, How to Make All Your Dreams Come True. There's a reason that all the major religions in the world have a history of sending missionaries to the poorest and most destitute corners of the globe. Starving people will believe anything if it will keep them fed. For your new religion, it's best to start preaching your message to people whose lives are the most, the poor, the outcasts, the abused, and forgotten. Jesus Christ did the same damn thing. Buddha, too. Moses, you get the idea. Religious leaders preach to the poor and downtrodden and enslaved, telling them that they deserve the kingdom of heaven, basically, an open fuck you to the corrupt elites of the day. It's a message that's easy to get behind. Spiritual religions are high risk, high reward. They require, by far, the most skill and charisma to get going. But they also pay off the most in terms of follower loyalty and benefits. I mean, have you seen the Vatican? Holy shit, and if you build one, well, it'll last way after you die. After all, you need to be able to paint a really simple picture for your followers. Some get it and those who do not get it, those who get it are going to save the world. Those who do not get it are going to destroy it. Chapter 5, Hope is fucked. Every religion runs into the sticky problem of evidence. You can tell people all this great stuff about God and spirits and angels and whatnot, but if the entire town burns down and your kid loses an arm in a fishing accident, well, then, oops, where was God? Throughout history, authorities have expended a lot of effort to hide the lack of evidence supporting their religion and or to punish anyone who dared question the validity of their faith-based values. Part 2, Everything is Fucked. Chapter 6, The Formula of Humanity. The formula of humanity has a ripple effect. Your improved ability to be honest with yourself will increase how honest you are with others, and your honesty with others will influence them to be more honest with themselves, which will help them to grow and mature. Throughout the rich and developed world, we are not living through a crisis of wealth or material, but a crisis of character, a crisis of virtue, a crisis of means and ends. Chapter 7, Pain is the universal constant. The blue dot effect suggests that, essentially, the more we look for threats, the more we will see them, regardless of how safe or comfortable our environment is. And we see this playing out in the world today. This is the blue dot effect. The better things get, the more we perceive threats where there are none, and the more upset we become. The idea that Einstein was a poor student is bogus. He excelled at math and science from an early age, taught himself algebra and Euclidean geometry in a single summer at age 12, and read Immanuel Kant's Critique of Pure Reason, a book that present-day graduate students struggle to finish, at age 13. You think, hey, to be happier, I'm going to need to get a new job, so you get a new job. And then, a few months later, you feel you'd be happier if you had a new house, so you get a new house. And then, a few months later, it's an awesome beach vacation, so you go on an awesome beach vacation. Pursuing happiness is the value of the modern world. Do you think Zeus gave a shit if people were happy? Do you think the God of the Old Testament cared about making people feel good? No. The pursuit of happiness is a toxic value that has long defined our culture. It is self-defeating and misleading. Living well does not mean avoiding suffering, it means suffering for the right reasons. The human mind operates on the same principle. It can be fragile or anti-fragile depending on how you use it. When struck by chaos and disorder, our minds set to work making sense of it all, deducing principles and constructing mental models, predicting future events, and evaluating the past. This is called learning, and it makes us better. It allows us to gain from failure and disorder because pain is the universal constant. No matter how good or bad your life gets, the pain will be there, and it will eventually feel manageable. The question then, the only question, is, will you engage it? If any of these things are fragile in your life, it is because you have chosen to avoid the pain. You have chosen childish values of chasing simple pleasures, desires, and self-satisfaction. Our pain tolerance, as a culture, is diminishing rapidly. And not only is this diminishment failing to bring us more happiness, but it's generating greater amounts of emotional fragility, which is why everything appears to be so fucked. Pain is the currency of our values. Without the pain of loss, or potential loss, it becomes impossible to determine the value of anything at all. Pain is at the heart of all emotions. Negative emotions are caused by experiencing pain. Positive emotions are caused by alleviating pain. When we avoid pain and make ourselves more fragile, the pursuit of happiness is, then, an avoidance of growth, an avoidance of maturity, an avoidance of virtue. Chapter 8, The Feelings Economy. The world runs on one thing, feelings. This is because people spend money on things that make them feel good. And where the money flows, power flows. So, the more you're able to influence the emotions of people in the world, the more money and power you'll accumulate. This is the problem with exalting freedom over human consciousness. More stuff doesn't make us freer, it imprisons us with anxiety over whether we chose or did the best thing. More stuff causes us to become more prone to treating ourselves and others as means rather than ends. Real freedom. The only true form of freedom, the only ethical form of freedom, is through self-limitation. It is not the privilege of choosing everything you want in your life, but rather, choosing what you will give up in your life. This is not only real freedom, this is the only freedom. Diversions come and go. Pleasure never lasts. Variety loses its meaning. But you will always be able to choose what you are willing to sacrifice, what you are willing to give up. This sort of self-denial is paradoxically the only thing that expands real freedom in life. The pain of regular physical exercise ultimately enhances your physical freedom, your strength, mobility, endurance, and stamina. Plato was the first to suggest that there was the inherent separation between the thinking brain and the feeling brain. One must build character through various forms of self-denial, rather than through self-indulgence. Democracies are designed to reflect the will of the people. We've learned that people, when left to their own devices, instinctively run away from pain and toward happiness. The problem then emerges when people achieve happiness, it's never enough. Due to the blue dot effect, they never feel entirely safe or satisfied. Chapter 9, The Final Religion. So, instead of looking for hope, try this: don't hope for the better. Just be better. Be something better. Be more compassionate, more resilient, more humble, more disciplined.
To know more, click the link below given in description.
Subscribe to see more videos on book summary. Comment down below on which book summary do you want. Meet you guys in next video.